Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Today I have a brand new guest. Kannan Srinivasan, better known as Kannan, is a senior sports journalist. You've seen him on many TV channels. He used to work with Indian Express, Hindustan Times, India Today. Right now he is with First Sports and he is the lead editor there and a person who has been following Indian cricket for a long time. Let's welcome our guest of the day, Sree Kannan. Kannan, namaskaram and welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaskaram. Good day, sir. Good evening. Good morning across time zones to all of you.
Yes, indeed. And we are not going to talk about how good India's cricket team is. We are going to take a critical look at what exactly is the Indian team composition. Well, and also whether a person of the stature of Rahul Dravid is adding weight to the team or if there are any chinks in its armor. So do all these things. I'm going to yield the floor to Kannanji. And Kannanji, first question, and I'm seeing this having seen India stumble in their first match against Pakistan, and even today the bowling has been sort of a little raggedy, catching the less said the better. Is India team undercooked?
Definitely, we are looking undercooked, and finally, if things don't work out, we'll say our goose is cooked. I mean, first match against Pakistan was high stress, but if you look at even the ongoing match today against a weakling like Nepal, playing in the Asia Cup for the first time, you've allowed them to put 230 runs on the board. It's the innings break right now. So ideally, I think when you're going to play against a team like Nepal, a minnow, in Asia, when you compare it with Pakistan and Sri Lanka and Bangladesh and Afghanistan, you don't expect this kind of a total to be racked up by such a small nation. But this is a clear sign that things are not going way. And I think the two people who are the main cooks, and you talked about undercooked, and they've got the right ingredients or not, leading into the ICC ODI World Cup October, November in India. So if Asia Cup is a teaser and you're tasting, the first spoon from it, it doesn't really look good. And I think certainly a lot of questions come up about the seriousness, number one. And why would you allow someone like Jasprit Bumrah, who's just coming back from a long injury layoff, to take a break, suddenly go back home to Bombay? And today morning we discover that he and his wife Sanjana Ganeshan have been blessed with a boy. Playing cricket is it's like a war front. You're representing India. You're there on the border. How can you just take a break? We saw 2.5 years ago Virat Kohli take a paternity break, come to India, and Ajinkya Rahane lead there. But Bumrah is a very important bowler.
I think we just lost power at Kannan's place. Can you hear us, Kannan? I think we just had a power outage at Kannan's place. I'm sure he'll come back. Just wait for a few seconds here. The more important thing is to like this video. We are starting our critical look at something that is, something that consumes our living room. And we thought that maybe we should start giving a reasoned opinion about how things are shaping up in India's cricket team, because India is going to be hosting World Cup this year. And it's important to know how well we stand. I mean, if you take a look at the other teams, like for example, England or the perennial favorites, Australia or New Zealand or even Pakistan, they all seem to be peaking at the right time. And how ready is India? That's the question that we were going to ask. Unfortunately, we had a power outage, and Kannanji is going to be joining us very, very soon. So in the meantime, I thought I'll bring you up to date. There's also a problem with rain disrupting some of the matches. See, what is going to happen is the top two teams are going to be qualifying for what is called as the Super Round of 4, where these top 4 teams will be playing each other in a round-robin format. That means each team will have 3 games. So India will face Pakistan, India will face the other 2. I think it's going to be Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, if I'm not wrong. So each will play against the other, and the top 2, I believe, will go to the finals. That's how I think the format is laid out. The problem here is that all these matches, the round of 4 and beyond, were supposed to have been played in Colombo Colombo, and because of inclement weather there, they are not sure if they can hold the games there. Now there is thought about having them split in two places, and then what happens is, what about sports broadcasting? Every country has to have two sets of broadcasting equipment. That is going to be a nightmare. What about the tickets? Well, how about people? How many spectators will show up? So all sorts of questions being asked, and we don't know what's going to play out. I'm also hearing that today Roger Binney and Rajiv Shukla have crossed across into Pakistan at Wagah, and they are watching some games. The question that is in my mind is, if the administrators can go, why can't the players? The reason is, this Asia Cup is supposed to be hosted by Pakistan, and Pakistan was supposed to host it. And what ended up happening was, India said it will not play any games in Pakistan. So all the games that India plays are being played in Sri Lanka. Now, Sri Lanka, this is not the monsoon season, but for some reason, wherever Indian team goes, I guess rain follows. Varun Bhagwan is, he's very, maybe he also likes to come and watch India play cricket. Who knows? But I'm just saying this in jest. Don't take it seriously. The long and short of it is that India is not getting enough match practice, and they are going to be going into the Super Fours. And will that become a problem is something that we'll have to consider. I'm still waiting for Kannanji to join. I've not really been following cricket for a few years, so I'm going to rely completely on Kannanji for his judgment on individual situations, a composition of the team, how it's going to be playing out, and so on. So today, India's bowling, how good was India's bowling against Nepal? What India needs to have is something like a really sharp attitude. Whenever you're playing small teams, young teams, you should just finish them in 100 for 100 or something like that. Because if the bowlers are having a good workout, and if the fielders catch, then there is no reason why they cannot limit some of these teams to a really small total. Make short work of it. Give good batting practice. We know that in ODIs, as in T20s, the top three are the ones that make a huge difference. If they don't come to the party, then it's almost playing catch up. And Kannanji is joining me again. Sir, I was just giving them update about how the round of 4 and beyond, there is some scheduling issues because of rain in Sri Lanka, and I'm done with that. So you can come back and pick up from where you left off. Go ahead, sir.
So I was talking about Jasprit Bumrah taking a paternity break, and also talking about how 2.5 years ago, Virat Kohli, after one test match in Australia, he took a break. So this is a clear sign of not being serious. I think when you're playing for Team India, when you're playing, they call themselves men in blue. I think you got to bleed blue. You got to play every match. The instances where sports persons, athletes across a gamut of disciplines, they put aside personal tragedies. Even we've seen instances recently in the FIFA Women's World Cup, which Spain won. The lead scorer, just one goal. She did not know that her father had passed away. And only after the cup was won in Australia did she get to know that her father was no more. And here we are taking a break, flying from Sri Lanka to Bombay, and then saying we'll come for the Super 4 or the League of 4 as if it's taken for granted. So I don't think this is anyway justified, and this reflects intent on part of the entire team, and whether it's been given permission by the captain Rohit Sharma or Rahul Dravid or the entire BCC think tank, where you see Roger Binney and the president and Rajiv Shukla entering Pakistan today, crossing over from Wagah border. So, what are you trying to do? Is Asia Cup a fun tournament? Or, let's not forget in 2022, when we had the Asia Cup in the desert venues of the United Arab Emirates, that was a build-up for the ICC T20 World Cup in Australia. At that time, Sri Lanka won. That was the T20 format. Now we are playing the ODI format. So each number of match or aggregate number of matches, the total you play is an addition. Dhoni used to talk about a minimum 100 ODIs under the belt of each player before going into the World Cup. But here, we are not talking just about Bumrah, why he took a break, goes out. We're carrying unfit players into the tournament. There's no certainty whether KL Rahul is 100% fit. In 2 days' time from now, we're going to pick the World Cup squad. Rest of the other participating countries, Australia, England, they've already announced their team. And here we are dilly-dallying with the team. And there is a fetish, there is a liking for KL Rahul, who's been out for a long time. They say that he can bat for 50 overs, but if he's going to be used as a wicket keeper, can his hamstring hold his knees and he can keep wickets? No. So why not let Ishan Kishan go on and you keep Sanju Samson as the backup? And a word about Shreyas Iyer as well. He's also coming back from a long injury layoff. If you look at the quality of cricket, we have to go back to the benchmark of IPL and the West Indies. IPL, obviously, everybody performs because that's franchisee cricket and they get their bread and butter money from. But if you look at the performance in the West Indies, even in the ODIs, it was just a touch and go. And if you look at the T20I, for the first time, India lost the series to West Indies, a side which is not even qualified for the ODI World Cup. So where is the intent missing? Where is the seriousness? What is Rahul Dravid doing? Coach Rahul Dravid, 2 years ago, he was brought on when Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri got axed. And the man who axed them was Sourav Ganguly, who's now singing a different tune. So they wanted a change because Ravi Shastri had not won an ICC trophy for India. So is the same yardstick going to be used to judge Dravid? Is the same yardstick going to be used to judge Rohit Sharma? We'll get to know. But right now, looking at the Asia Cup, there is no seriousness. This tournament has been taken for granted. And then what was the reason for all this halabala and, song and dance about you can't play in Pakistan? If you can't play in Pakistan, if it is a terror state, if it is an unsafe place, so be it. If it is unsafe to play cricket, then what is the reason that, the BCCI president and Rajiv Shukla are walking into Pakistan for? What is the message being sent that it's okay to walk in there, watch the remaining matches of, Asia Cup? After all, Pakistan has got only 4 matches to host. And India said, we will not play in Pakistan, which is a decision made by the government of India. So how can you have 2 different yardsticks where the team cannot go and play, but the man who heads the Indian cricket board, crosses from Amritsar into Wagah border and walks in? What is the message which is being sent that you can go and watch cricket in Pakistan, but you cannot play in Pakistan? So all this is a net muddle, that BCCI is showing itself in very poor light. We thought that a former cricketer, 𝗤𝗎𝗄𝗎 heading, would make a difference. That's not happening. We saw in the past Chetan Sharma also not doing well. And probably even Secretary Jai Shah will need to answer that. Is this the way forward that you look at preparation for the World Cup so lightly?
Thank you so much, Kannan. And viewers, we are just putting them in the series in which we are receiving your comments. We're not actually moderating them so that you don't think that, we have something against this Indian cricket team or anything like that. We're just seeing the situation and we are saying it. Also, importantly, even in the India-Pakistan match, this is usually a sellout. Doesn't matter which part of the world this match takes place, it's a sellout. I'm hearing that the recently concluded India-Pakistan match did not sell out. In fact, they said that the pricing was high, but come on now, people are flying from India and Pakistan to watch the game. Those guys are, they will pay any price. It's a once in a lifetime kind of an opportunity. I have so far watched only one test match, and that too 1 day of that one test match. That's all I have seen. And I'm a rabid cricket enthusiast. At least I was. So, see, my point is also even the India-Pakistan matches, are they also losing relevance now?
But they're certainly not losing relevance, because the point is the hype over Indo-Pak matches is very high. Whether it is media, whether it is TV studios, whether it is newspapers, whether it is social media, it's like a war cry. But Pakistan came to the Asia Cup having played one match in Multan. So they'd already registered a win, and then they came to Sri Lanka, different conditions, from extreme dry Multan to Sri Lanka, where it is humid, a bit of rain, overcast. They play less cricket compared to India. They don't get as many opportunities as India, because they have their own Premier League, which is no comparison to what we have in India as the IPL. At the same time, they do not have so many number of bilaterals, and they do not have so many countries visiting them. But for sheer volume of cricket which Team India plays, you've got one team in Sri Lanka, you've got one team in India, and we had a team in Ireland. So the joke is that India can field 3 teams. This was said by the leading luminary Brian Lara. The point is not about whether India can field 3 teams. You have to field the best team. Just as the World Cup is on, the Asian Games will be on in Hangzhou, China, where India are sending 2 teams, men and women. So you've got to look at cricket here and cricket there, T20 and ODI. So why is it that, Pakistan always absorbs the pressure well? Why is it that Pakistan always has the best fast bowlers? And what happened in the first match, had it not been called off, and if there was a chance, for India to lose it, it would have been disaster. Splitting points.
Kannan, yeah, let's take a quick, clinical look at the first match, right? Right from the toss, I get a doubt. See, it was overcast skies. India wins the toss, and then they elect to bat. What was the rationale behind that?
I think it was rang bad captaincy by Rohit Sharma. In such conditions, you have to trust your bowlers. You've got a fantastic fast bowling lineup.
Bumrah was there.
You've got the arsenal there. You've got Bumrah there. Of course, Shami did not play the match, but you've got the rest of the guys there. You also have Hardik Pandya, who batted very well in that match with Ishan Kishan. So you've got the right mix of fast bowlers, medium fast bowlers, plus someone like Ravindra Jadeja was, great utility in any condition. So that was a very baffling decision, and these are the kind of mistakes which are getting amplified from Rohit Sharma. We saw that in the West Indies also. Then, of course, he seemed to be a tourist in the West Indies, like Virat Kohli. One does not know why they took such a long flight to the West Indies if they're not even going to play all the matches. Then Virat Kohli is put on a private jet. He comes back and he gets lambasted for the amount of carbon emission being created. I mean, he could have just taken a business class or first class ticket flight, and BCCI takes pride. So I think it's the BCCI which is spoiling these players. Earlier days it was a different story. It was more like the Oliver Twist story. Craving for broth. But here I don't know. Too much of riches. Not the old days where it was rags, and then they made some amount of money from cricket. Here, I think it's all about getting spoiled brats, all of them. That's the story about Team India.
Kannan, let me walk you through the first 3 batters of India when they played against Pakistan, right? All of them clean bowled. If you ask me, they were beaten for pace. I just saw the highlights. Again, I didn't see every ball, because sometimes there's a build-up, right? Somebody gets set up, and then he or she is scalped. My question to you, sir, is that how is it that with so little cricket, Pakistan always looks fresh and raring to go, especially their bowling department? And how is it that after so much preparation, with almost 2 trainers per player, India still looks undercooked? I'll give you a simple example. To me, Rohit Sharma looks a little bit overweight for the last 2-3 years. What the heck is he doing about his weight?
Sree Iyer, sir, you are watching as much cricket as I do, and I think your observations are bang on. I think it's exactly like how the Pakistan fast bowlers, whether they are right arm fast bowlers or they are left arm fast bowlers, they produce the Yorker. Pakistan's fast bowling has always been, a delight. You go back to the times of Imran Khan, sadly now in jail. You go back to Wasim Akram. You go back to Waqar Yunus. Then you had Shoaib Akhtar. I think they have a battery. They keep producing, and we've seen that whatever the condition, they get the ball to move, and even in early conditions, they're getting the ball to reverse swing. And the way you mentioned about, beating them through the air, beating them through swing and, outside the off stump, it's crazy. And where you're talking about overweight, it's amazing, that where's the fitness barometer? Someone like Virat Kohli is still, he's not a 20-year-old or 25-year-old. He's in mid-30s. On the yo-yo scale, he's still the best. But where do you hide such unfit players who've got a pot belly and he's not even tucking his t-shirt inside? The t-shirt is being pulled out, like college rogues trying to hide the beer belly. That's what comes to my mind. So you cannot allow, it's very, very poor body language. When you look at such a cricketer, you got that hangdog expression and then you're still smiling. So it's not accepted. I think we've seen the lean, trim versions in cricket. And if you look at the Pakistanis, probably only man who was fat one was called Aloo, which is potato, was Inzamam-ul-Haq. But otherwise, you look at all the cricketers, they may look bulky, they're extremely fit, muscular. It's not just got to do with the diet, it's also got to do with their gene pool, and fast bowling there, despite all the wickets in Pakistan being dry, but they get the ball to move. If you go back to even 78 series or the next series when Bishan Bedi took the team to Pakistan, we saw that Imran Khan with his intimidating run-up would come and, hurl the ball. And so much of cricket has been played after that between these two countries, not in bilateral series, but you look at T20, whether it is the 2007 T20 World Cup, the maiden edition, or you look at 1996 India versus Pakistan in Bangalore, or you look at 2011 World Cup. There have been so many contests. So we've always been a case where Pakistan comes out better, and that is despite, them not getting so much money, not so much salary, not being spoiled. I think their passion, they play with pride, they play with passion. They are only hungry to win and they're ready to do anything for it. And that's what marks them out as so special. We're looking at, bookmakers talking about Australia and, of course, England now as possible favorites for the World Cup. But under 𝗼𝗲, I think Pakistan are a very, very potent team, a potent force, a potent combination. And they will carry forward the momentum from the Asia Cup into the World Cup. And they're not going to be afraid. You're going to have your prime match in, the most beautiful stadium, which I have entered and graced, the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad. But even if there are going to be 1 lakh plus people, cheering India, they're not going to be worried. I don't think Pakistan gets intimidated by all this. Perhaps the men in green, it's got to do with their DNA of soaking in pressure. And if they're going to wear the underdog tag, they'll wear it beautifully, I'm sure. So this is the gut feeling at this point of time, sadly so, because we are just a month away from the World Cup. And if your preparations look so shabby, what do you do about
it? Let's just walk through the lineup, right? Now, when they were playing in West Indies, I saw some refreshing changes. Ishan Kishan was there. There was another Yashasvi Jaiswal opening. And then Tilak Sharma, right? Or Tilak Raj?
Tilak Sharma, yeah.
Tilak Sharma, right? Tilak Verma. Right. Sorry, guys. Now, I'm like I said, I've been watching bits and pieces, so pardon me for getting the names wrong. But let me ask you one simple question. ODI is all about lines and lengths and building an innings, right? The reasoning given out for building an innings that KL Rahul is a must is that he can bat 50 overs. You mentioned that. Now, you said also that he has a hamstring problem that might not allow him to keep wickets and bat. And let's just set the thing aside for one moment. Technically, Rahul and also Shreyas Iyer, they have a problem against the short ball. I think Shreyas Iyer came out full of piss and vinegar. He wanted to show that he can tackle the fast ball, except that he got out pulling. And he middled it, but then there was a fielder in the way. I mean, and the ball caught the fielder, if you ask me, more than anything else. The reflex catch, the ball was traveling. But the point I'm trying to make is, technically, how good is the current 11? And also, could there be better replacement? You can start from number 1 and work your way through up to number 7 or so, after which, again, there are bowlers. Go ahead, sir.
I think, again, you have picked up the pertinent point relating to T20 versus ODI format. There has been an overdose of T20 cricket. Obviously, through the summer, you're playing an enormous amount of IPL matches. There has been a confusion, in planning and execution and strategizing whether we're actually preparing for the World Cup this year or the T20 World Cup to be hosted in 2024 by the United States of America and the West Indies. Coming back to the ODI, batting in the ODIs is very different from batting in T20s. You've got to plan your innings. I'm not saying that you take a long time to dig in. You can't have too many dot balls for sure. But certainly you have to plan. If suppose you're a batter, you're not looking to get out cheaply. You are looking at digging your heels in and showing intent and showing that you're ready to face any kind of bowling attack. Coming to your pertinent question of the short ball, certainly the short ball has been the undoing of some of the batters, and we've seen from the limited examples and the samples against Pakistan and also in West Indies, we've not done well. I think you're talking about Tilak, youngster is brilliant, and we're talking about Ishan Kishan, he's brilliant. Hardik Pandya obviously is aware that he's going to be the important player. He's performed well as a batter against Pakistan in Sri Lanka, but he's also got to bowl. The old days we had this concept of all-rounders in ODI cricket. Sadly, now India does not have an all-rounder in the same mold as 𝗣𝗲𝗍 𝗍𝙗. Even if you look back at the 1983
I thought that was Pandya.
Yeah, Pandya has to prove himself with bat and ball. But if you're looking at quality all-rounders, they're not there. And the blame here again will come on the IPL because you're allowing an impact player rule to exist, which means when you have an impact player, you're actually not entering the field with 11 players, you've got 12 players. Even someone who's not in the team can come and play and go. So you are not allowing the all-rounder to develop. So where are you going to suddenly get your all-rounders from? One all-rounder I can think of is Ravindra Jadeja. Hardik Pandya knows that he has to deliver and he's doing it. But if you look at the other, if you look at England and Australia, or even to a large extent New Zealand and even Pakistan, you will find that despite all the limitations, there are still at least 2-3 genuine all-rounders. So the concept of all-rounder seems alien to India. And regarding the batting, we've seen that at the top, when you're looking at Virat Kohli, when you're looking at Rohit Sharma, we're looking at Shubman Gill, these three guys have to come good. We're talking about, the middle order conundrum. KL Rahul must play. KL Rahul must play. Why should he play? It's just that if you go to his stats, Crick Info or Crick Buzz, if you look at Rahul's stats and if you look at Shreyas' stats and you say they must play, nobody picks a team based on stats. Nobody picks a team. If that was the case, then, Don Bradman would have continued to play till he passed away. No, you got to pick players on form. You got to pick players who are match fit. We are talking about Shreyas Iyer recovered. He trained. He did his rehab under the best physios in the NCA, National Cricket Academy in Bangalore. And there in a practice match, you are talking about him scoring 200 plus runs. Are you comparing a practice match in NCA with the kind of bowling he's going to face in the World Cup? And we saw against Pakistan what kind of variety they have. The same thing is going to be there with a few more teams as well. They're going to come out, and let's not forget, pace is just one aspect. If you look at even spin, very wily spinners today operating in shorter ball formats, whether it is T20 or ODI. And the joke is that India, which traditionally knew how to play spin, struggles against spinners. We've seen so many instances. And that's why I feel that taking it for granted that we can play spin, no. The genuine spinners out there, very lean, mean, hungry, who can trouble India, even in India. And, Jadeja is one. You're talking about Akshar Patel, you're talking about Kuldeep. But I see no reason or what is the agenda against R. Ashwin. There's no mention of him. The poor guy is not even being thought of as a possibility. And Ashwin can be one very valuable player for Team India in the World Cup at home. He will be a very potent weapon as a bowler. You take it. 10 overs means his 60 deliveries, you're probably going to get like 45, 50 variations. He can produce that kind of magic. And age may not be on his side. That does not matter. He is still a decent bat. And we've seen that time and again in Test cricket, Ashwin has come to India's rescue. And if there is a bias from coach Dravid against Ashwin and pro KL Rahul, that's very sad. I would like to be proved wrong, because now we have former India fast bowler Ajit Agarkar as the chairman of the selection committee. And I go back to the times when Mohinder Amarnath called the selectors a bunch of jokers. So I hope we will not have a bunch of jokers who are going to name the team on September 6, 2023, because for the Asia Cup you had 17 players. No, here you're going to have a shorter number. And what are you assessing them? What is the yardstick going to be followed? Are you going to put KL Rahul just because he's KL Rahul? He's a player who did well in the past. Then how does it matter whether you do well in the current scenario or not? So we are hoping that the best team is picked, because if you don't pick the best team, you cannot produce your best performance.
Kannan, Rohit Sharma and Ashwin are not very far apart in terms of age. And if you notice, I am stunned about the lack of footwork of Rohit Sharma. He's not a Virender Sehwag, hand and eye coordinated guy. He needs to get his feet moving. And I don't see that. And again, one can make the argument that perhaps he has put on weight. He also has the same hamstring problem that KL Rahul has. He has stopped bowling. He used to be a handy off spinner. He's not bowling anymore. So a lot of little things here and there, where if the main bowler is going for runs, somebody can come in and stem the flow, whether it was Virender Sehwag or Sachin Tendulkar, or even left-armer Yuvraj Singh. I mean, Yuvraj Singh was a man of the tournament in 2011, and the man was battling cancer. So if you look at what was going through his personal life at that time.
Yeah, you made a very beautiful point, about the bits and pieces cricketers, as they were called, and not because of bits and pieces, but every bit and every piece they contributed was valuable. You're talking about Sachin Tendulkar, you're talking about Yuvraj, you had even many others coming and bowling. Let's go back to even much more number of years. There was one particular ODI match where Chris Sreekanth took 5 wickets in Vizag. Rohit Sharma can't bowl. Virat Kohli does not bowl. So where are your batters? At the press conference before, leaving for Sri Lanka, Rohit Sharma joked that you could see some of the guys bowling in the ODI. But without practice, you don't go there. Sachin was a great gambler. He had that variety. You could go, and he had that heart to go and bowl. But here, there's nobody. You're going to be depending on the regular bowlers, and if one regular bowler gets hit, there's nobody here, who can say, no, come on, give me the ball. There's nobody here in this team like a Rohit Sharma or a Virat Kohli. Come on, give me the ball. And back to your comparison between Rohit Sharma and Ashwin, I think age-wise, they're very close. Performance-wise, I think Ashwin is also extremely good. Rohit Sharma just seems to be having, a better horoscope, star chart, as we call in Tamil as Jadagam. I think his Jadagam is really, a
Kundli.
lot of stars are on the ascendant. And you've seen that despite non-performance for Mumbai Indians and Mumbai Indians doing badly in the IPL, he's still there. And this is a job which has been gifted to him. And the man I will hold responsible for is Sourav Ganguly, all because he did not like Virat Kohli, all because Sourav Ganguly did not like Ravi Shastri. And today that same Sourav Ganguly, who's a person non grata in BCCI, wants to hang on to a job in IPL team. Delhi Daredevils, now called Delhi Capitals, is showering praise on Virat Kohli's batting whenever he scores. So this is the sad part about Indian cricket, that there is full of bile in your gut. When you want to slam someone, you have an agenda. I would love to see that time when there's no agenda. There's nothing against a cricketer. The genuine fit players are there in the team. I don't think when Dhoni was the captain, we saw such a situation where he would favor certain players like what is going on now. And I'd also like to go back to Dhoni in IPL 2023. We're talking about injuries, we're talking about management. Dhoni played that entire tournament with a bad knee. Only after he won the trophy this summer, very next day he went back and had a surgery. That is the kind of determination. Dhoni never was seen clutching his hamstring or the quadriceps or anywhere that stretching, or he's calling for the trainer. He needs a spray or a pain gel or something to. With Rohit Sharma, that body language doesn't. It's like, come on, okay, if I hit and score runs, it's okay. If I don't make runs, it's okay. It's like a job taken for granted. It's not perform or perish. I think he's now in the bracket of a perishable commodity.
Also, I think IPL form is not actually a realistic indicator of how good you are as a player, because in IPL, right, there are only 4 foreign players, and that splits between maybe 1 or 2 each of bowler and batter. And there is other people who are playing Indian cricket, and they are not exactly at the same level because they are not exposed internationally. So there is always this feeling that, okay, this guy did well in IPL, therefore he merits selection. Maybe for T20, yes. But in terms of, let's take a look at, in terms of ODI, I kind of differ. But let's take a look at the batting lineup today. Whether it is Shreyas Iyer or Rahul at number 4. Look at the top 5. Right-hand, right-handed, 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 left-handed. That is Ishan Kishan, assuming he plays. To me, that is a problem, because if you have a really wily bowler who can exploit the angles, right, India could be easily like very few runs for 4 wickets.
I think your point on IPL being the benchmark or the yardstick is wrong. Sadly, there is an overdose of IPL. Let's not forget, India was leaving for the ICC Test Championship final in Britain against Australia. Straight out of the IPL, no preparation. None of the guys who did well in Ranji Trophy, the red ball format, get picked, and you're picking the side. Of course, Ajinkya Rahane got in because of his performance in the IPL. Pujara was brought in. Pujara failed, and then he was jettisoned. But relying on IPL to pick the team does not make sense. As far as T20 versus ODI goes, that has become sadly it's not like a semester exam. IPL has become like the annual exam. You do well in it and you're getting picked. IPL is just a league club format, and you're talking about restriction of number of foreigners per side. Let's also see that Pakistan cricketers are not part of IPL. They're not allowed to play here. They're unwelcome. So the players who are there are also not necessarily the best. And if you look at this year's final contest, we've seen that Chennai, despite having overage players past prime, players who've retired from international cricket, they're doing well. So does that not speak volumes about what is happening in the IPL? That those who are performing well there are not necessarily your best international players. KL Rahul was injured, Shreyas Iyer was injured, so they have not played cricket at all. They've just undergone injury, rehab, training. And when you talk of fitness, the fitness standard measured in NCA is different. Fitness as in, a guy who goes for a 3-kilometer or 5-mile walk is different from someone who's match fit. I think when you're talking about match fit player, that is where the base nature comes out. And I think my vote would still go to Virat Kohli for the kind of effort he puts in. So if you're going to put Virat Kohli as the benchmark for fitness and for performance, he'll definitely get 10 out of 10. Rohit Sharma will not even get 5. The same goes for Shreyas Iyer and Rahul, because you cannot even evaluate them. The problem is you cannot evaluate them because they have not done anything. You only have computer bit of statistics. They did this in the past. Past is past. Future looks tense for Indian cricket.
Now, so let's take the hypothetical argument, and we are winding it down, viewers. Just a couple of questions, and then we can take questions and wind it down. First question is, with established players, India is not winning. Why not experiment with new talent? For example, the miracle that India wrought at Brisbane.
I think there is a great deal of inclusion for the youth, whether it is Ishan Kishan or whether it is Tilak, you're getting these players in. I think Ishan has proved himself repeatedly, and now he's a certainty. But sadly, the theme being played out is that KL Rahul is the first choice as wicketkeeper. Why? Why is he the first choice is the big question. I think it is very, very unfortunate that Rishabh Pant met with an accident in December 2022 and he's out of the mix. Had Rishabh Pant been fit, I don't think KL Rahul would have been the first choice as wicketkeeper batsman or batter wicketkeeper. Batter is the new word being used. We are seeing that. So youth is being preferred, but old days, certain countries picked the 11 and then they said, come on, you look at who's going to lead. But no, here you're putting a captain who himself is not fit, who does not look fit, whose body language is that of being someone overweight, bulky. There is a certain emphasis on including youth. We're talking about the right mix of experienced players as well as young players. That is happening, but too much of experimentation bombed, especially in the West Indies, because Rohit Sharma came back. The charge was given to Hardik Pandya, the future T20 captain of India, and he did a very bad job of it. He did not look serious, he did not perform well, and India lost the T20 series to West Indies. So by the time I think we're looking at 23 World Cup, we also need to look at the 24 T20 World Cup, because the T20 World Cups are going to be there more often, and over a period of time, perhaps ODI value will diminish. So you will need younger players. I think there is no way you can exclude younger players. But younger players, again, does not necessarily mean that you look at IPL. You have to look at the domestic format, Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy. You have to even look at Ranji Trophy, that is your feeder line. And you also have to look at what the under-19 team is doing. What is the performance from players who are fresh and hungry. So that's the way forward, Relying just on old names just because they did well in the past, that does not work. I don't think anywhere in the world they're doing it. And even if you look at a country like Australia, they pick players only based on performance. And someone is talking about Steve Smith. How come he gets in? Steve Smith gets in because he's ready to reinvent, go back and play Big Bash and come back here for the World Cup and possibly, not a certainty, a contender. But in India, we need to get over this mentality of taking the place for granted. When that day it happens, there is no certain player who can say, I am going to be first choice. No, I think that's what is needed. And for this particular aspect which we are discussing, it's Rahul Dravid who is the main protagonist. He's the one who, in the dressing room, think tank, has the biggest job, because a captain executes on the field. But before strategizing and before implementing it, it is the coach who's cooking. And as you asked at the beginning of the show, whether it's undercooked or it is undercooking or the fire is too slow, we will get to know very soon.
Now, Kannan, as under-19 coach, Rahul Dravid wrought miracles. He unearthed Kamlesh Nagarkoti. He unearthed Arshdeep Singh, I think. He also unearthed Shivam Mavi or something like that, his name. These were all genuinely quick, hitting 145 to 150 consistently. Whatever happened to these players?
I think this has been the sad story. So many young fast bowlers. One more name I will mention, T. Natarajan. We don't know where is T. Natarajan.
Yorker Nattu.
Yeah, Nattu. We don't know where is Nattu. Nattu is somewhere in TNPL, Tamil Nadu Premier League, or, he's made his money and gone. We're talking about so many young fast bowlers vanishing. And we're again going back to, for example, for a long time, Bhuvneshwar Kumar was persisted with. Now Bhuvneshwar has gone. And for this World Cup, you're relying on Mohammad Shami. No, I think you need to look at, younger players. I mean, Shardul Thakur obviously is a hot player with bat and ball. We have to look at also how youngsters can be groomed. If you are not going to groom them, if you're not going to give them enough opportunities, it's dangerous. I have my doubts even over Jasprit Bumrah, because he's tested his back only in T20 cricket, which is 4 overs. He's not bowled his quota of 10 overs really over here.
He has an awkward action. Awkward action is not going to help you as you grow older.
I think the awkward action is not something he's going to change. In the good old days, when you played at nets, even the gully coach or, your league coach would tell you your action is not okay, it's jerky, it's going to cause problems with your back. But I don't see Bumrah changing his action. And the big debate is whether he's going to sacrifice one format of cricket. Obviously, he's not going to last 3 formats, Test, ODI and T20. One format he'll have to sacrifice. And if he's going to sacrifice Test cricket, that is very sad, because if you sacrifice Test cricket, you can prolong your ODI and T20 career. And that seems to be the trend now in global cricket, where, if you look at a batter, Chris Gayle did it, and so many people in the West Indies did it. So it's sad that young fast bowlers are not being nurtured. And if they have had injuries and fallen by the wayside, why were they not properly taken care of? Why were they not given the best treatment if they needed surgery, rehab, and match fitness? And has anyone even spoken to them, or are they just left aside? We just talk about it on shows like the current one on. Nothing is there. They're unheard of and languishing somewhere until the next opportunity they get. Hopefully, praying that the next round of auctions come for the IPL, because let's not forget, we are in September 2023. Next year, the IPL is also going to be advanced because you're going to play the IPL and then go into the T20 World Cup. It's sad because a fast bowler has a big shelf life, and if the shelf life is being cut short, that's a clear case where the BCCI and its affiliated state units and all those who are part of the Indian cricket system are not doing their bit, because becoming a fast bowler in India is not easy. We have very, very hostile conditions. We don't have green tops. We don't have wickets which help the fast bowler. And the more and more you play in IPL and the short ball formats, batters are ready to thrash you, and nobody sheds a tear for the bowler. And I mean not about conceding runs, especially when they are injured and unfit.
Kannan, speaking of IPL and bashing, there were some rules put in place for bats, that bats cannot change in size, the thickness, for example, and so on and so forth. This happened 3-4 years ago. Are those now enforced, or they are still open?
I think there are far too many changes being allowed in the IPL, and mine goes back to the times once when Dennis Lilly walked out with an aluminium bat.
Yes.
And if you look at the kind of bat which Sunny Gavaskar used, they're very different from the bats being used today. Today, the kind of bat, not just the dimension in terms of width or the weight, but the bats are already prepared, and these bats are so well prepared. It's not like the old days when the bat had to be prepared. You are going to use linseed oil, produce strokes in it. Now you go to the shops, you get your old compass drilling holes into it. So now you're getting bats which are really, you're looking at the maximum. the six is going long. It's got to do with definitely the acceleration, the human body dynamics of batters. Sorry, I don't like the word batters, batsmen getting more fit. But also I can tell
Every time you mention the word batter, I'm reminded of dosa, my friend.
So, okay, batsman, batter. So when you're talking about tennis, you're talking about racket head acceleration. So you're looking at cricket, the bat. Again, you're looking at the kind of swing they're producing, the contact point. So even miss hits are like going so deep. So that has become the patent, that with the change in revolution in the bat, they are enjoying an undue unfair advantage over the bowlers.
To level the playing field, they should allow bowlers to bowl underarm and not tell the batsman ahead of time.
I don't think that's going to happen soon because even Mankading is being objected to, and they're calling it against the rules of the game, against the sportsman spirit. But I don't think you're going to get underarm bowling again. But you'll see more of round arm bowling action.
Round arm
You'll see more clumsy bowling actions, and we'll see Jasprit Bumrah bowl. And one can only pray that he does well for India, first in the Asia Cup and then in the World Cup. Having said that, and bashed him on the show, congratulations to Jasprit Bumrah and Sanjana, blessed with a baby sunny boy, Angad, and wish him also a healthy life ahead. And that's it. We can only hope and pray. That's the real situation right now for Team India.
Thank you so much. And I just want to, before we go to Q&A, I want to add one little thing. Viewers, I had 𝗤𝗃𝗄𝗎, who is the coach of the Indian women's team for a few years, come on my channel, and he talked about coaching. And he said that parents who have, bring like their children 6, 7, 8, whenever they are starting out to play cricket, and Raman would tell them, make them play tennis ball cricket. And these guys will look at him and say, why is this coach telling me to play tennis ball cricket? I want to play the real ball. So they are already fixated in taking their child to IPL T20. And he explained why. He said, when you have tennis ball, it bounces a lot more. And at a young age, if the boy has no fear of that short ball, because tennis ball is not going to, break your bones. I mean, you'll get a real stinger. And that was the point he was trying to make. And the parents don't seem to understand it. So you have a lot of challenges. Same way, if you want to be a good bowler, you know what you need to do? You need to run a lot. You need to bike a lot. You have to really strengthen the hamstring muscle. Because if you don't do that, the weight will be taken on by your knees and the knees will collapse after some time. The hamstring muscle is the one that needs to do the maximum amount of work. And these things have to be paid attention to at a very young age. I don't know how many parents are thinking about it. It's all great that your child seems to have talent, but talent at the highest level, you have to do a lot of prep. That's what I got. You can watch that video interview. 2 or 3 episodes I got with 𝗤𝗃𝗄𝗎. Do watch that, viewers, because though some of you may be serious about their children playing cricket, a lot more opportunities these days. But the most important thing is make them be ready for this level. Also, what happened to Washington Sundar? Is he in the team now?
He's not in the team. There's no news of him, and I think we'll have to wait till Wednesday. What happens? Whether who gets a recall, who does not get a recall? We don't know what has happened. Where he's disappeared. But back to your comment on 𝗣𝗚𝗍, which you said is applicable to young parents. I think Raman was a fantastic coach. You called him 𝗤𝗃𝗄𝗎. He's 𝗣𝗚𝗍. He was also the Indian women's team coach. Sharp brain, shrewd brain. He obviously was on PGurus as well as a few more sites. Very sharp commentator. Just like today, Dinesh Karthik is a fantastic commentator. He comes on Sky Sports. I think it's got to do with the brains from Chennai, Tamil Nadu, about cricket, being cerebral cricketers. And I think you're talking about hamstring and you're talking about quadriceps and so on. It applies to KL Rahul. It applies to Sree Iyer also. We need to see whether they have prepared best and their hamstrings are ready to take on the load of the ICC World Cup, where India are the hosts, and hopefully will do a good job.
Thank you so much. And now we have a few questions for you, Kannan. Let's go for the questions, please. Thank you, Lalit Kishore Gangupalli, for becoming a YouTube member. Thank you, Shashikant Srivastava. Aditya R. Venkatramanan wants to know, this team looks way undercooked. I doubt even if India will beat Australia, England, New Zealand, looking at past ICC event records. Your thoughts?
Definitely, I think they looked undercooked, and to think that we are going to beat all these heavyweight teams. Australia has the pedigree. England, everyone knows, is a very, very hot team. And New Zealand, let's not underestimate them ever. They may be playing less cricket compared to these two teams, Australia and England. But New Zealand beat us in the 2021 ICC World Test Championship final. Of course, Kane Williamson was the head then. So all these three teams you're talking about from the Tasman side as well as England, they're going to be very difficult. And as I said, we will need to produce brilliant cricket. We need to produce something out of the world to peak. 2011, we peaked at the right time. So the big challenge is if this team can peak at the right time, and that will determine how far they go into the draw in the ICC World Cup.
Next question, please. 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝙪 𝗢𝙠 wants to know, is Rahul Dravid the problem? He lacks a killer instinct as a coach.
I think Rahul Dravid as a coach is already under scrutiny. And there is also a school of thought which feels that Rahul Dravid is a purist, a traditional player who's delivered in the under-19 team. But when you're looking at modern white ball cricket, you probably need a coach with more flair, someone who's more proactive. Looking at a coach who's more conversant with the modern day cricket it is played. And even the big topic comes up again, whether India needs a foreign coach. Why is it coming up again at this time is a good question. But we're talking about killer instinct. A coach's job is very, very important in all formats. I think we forget the time when Gavaskar played or Bedi played or Kapil Dev led India. They only had a manager, and there was no coach. But cricket has now become so scientific. There's so many inputs that are coming in. People talked about late 𝗣𝗚 𝗔𝘁 as the laptop coach. There's so much being studied, simulated, every weakness. Even if you look at W.V. Raman and all these coaches, commentators, they take valuable inputs. They look at the matches, they look at players, and they analyze exactly what should be done. And I'm sure that's what Pakistan are also doing, watching the Indian cricketers, especially the batsmen, not batters, sorry. How to...
No, let's stick with batsmen. I have no problem with that. This
so
is a voice team.
How to get them with the swing, how to get them with the reverse swing, how to get them with the ball which comes in, plus express pace, plus bowling the Yorker length. So Rahul Dravid certainly is as much under the scanner as Rohit Sharma is. And whether he lacks the killer instinct as a coach, I think it's a very good question. I think he's not really a coach with a killer instinct.
Next one. Kesar wants to know why India is vulnerable in seaming conditions with so many ground matches, foreign playing conditions, practice on that before traveling.
I think this has been the bane of Indian cricket for a very long time. We called the paper tigers. We do well at home in the tournaments, whether it is T20, whether it's ODI or in Test, and crumble when you go abroad. Definitely seaming conditions and overcast conditions. Of course, today you don't have the same fast wickets like previous times in Australia, even in England and the West Indies. If you looked at the recent series in West Indies, you'd have seen that this is not the kind of wicket which was prepared earlier. But to not be ready for seaming condition and to be not ready for the moving ball, especially when you played so much more cricket, is a sad thing. So there is no excuse for it. You have to be ready for every test. It's not only about failing against seaming delivery, seaming conditions. Even against the overseas qualities, spinners, Indian batsmen are finding it tough.
And Gautam Gambhir has made a prediction. He has had his own pick for the World Cup. I'm going to read out some names. He has left out Shreyas Iyer and Shardul Thakur, and he has brought in Washington Sundar, and he also has chosen 𝗖𝗍𝘗𝘁 𝗠rie over Shreyas Iyer. And this is 𝗬𝗏 𝗏𝗀𝗃. We don't know if the selection committee is going to follow suit or not. Those are the changes he's suggesting. The question that lingers in my mind is, so if we think that Ashwin is over the hill as far as his bowling skills are concerned, I mean, Sundar hasn't really lit up with his off-spin bowling. It's more containing, it's more T20 kind of stuff. So who else is a good bowling all-rounder who can bowl really good off-spin?
I think when they sit on the table on Wednesday, they will answer all these questions. Hopefully, they will hear Gambhir also. Gambhir may not be liked by many in the BCCI dispensation, but when he's talking about dropping a player, I think he knows well because he's been part of the IPL franchise. He's still part of competitive cricket. He plays the seniors cricket in Canada with Yuvraj Singh. He was with the Lucknow team. He's watching it closely. He's a Delhi member of parliament from the BJP, but as a cricketing brain, he's shrewd. So if he's talking for the inclusion of Washington Sundar, I think he's understood Washington well. And dropping Shreyas Iyer, yeah, I think it's certainly not going to happen. They may not drop him, but why cry over spilled milk eventually? We need to take all the inputs. And finally, the team is going to be picked in talks with the coach, the captain, and all the big guys over there. And I hope there is no bias, there's no partisan stuff. And Ajit Agarkar shows that he's the guy who is going to pick the best squad. And if that does not happen, people will come out with the knives, like we have our discerning viewers on the show asking such lovely, wonderful questions.
Thank you so much. And I want to leave you with one thought about team selection. 1991-1992, Sourav Ganguly was chosen to play for India and for this tour of Down Under, that is Australia. He didn't even play a league match. I mean, not league match. I'm talking about, one of the state matches, practice matches. He didn't play a single game. They just carried him as a passenger throughout. That is, and Sourav Ganguly announced himself 4 years later. But just imagine, that is the kind of selection things we did. Even after you select a player, somebody didn't want him to play. You remember that, right, Kannan?
Yes. I remember it very well. So we cannot have tourists. We cannot have players who are undercooked, underprepared, who are not fully ready. We are talking about match fitness, and that's not there. And Shreyas Iyer has a love affair with injuries. If you go through his career graph, there are any number of times he's come into the team and not lived up to the potential. Even you go to the IPL, Delhi Capitals, it was his bad luck that he again got injured 2 years ago and Rishabh Pant became the captain. So obviously you should pick a player who's solid, fit. There's going to be a lot of travel within India. You're playing at different venues, and you have to be really, really 100% on. And that should be one of the biggest criteria. Don't go by just past records. Look at the fitness parameters. Look at the hunger in them and see if they are fresh. We don't need stale products. Sorry.
And the last question for today, why people don't mention Sanju Samson, please?
I think Sanju Samson is in the mix. Sanju's as the backup. He's the backup for Ishan Kishan. But this fetish for KL Rahul is what is bugging a lot of cricketers as well as lovers. Some cricketers are also unhappy, the former cricketers, with why KL Rahul is being, favored so much. Does it have to do because he's now part of, Bollywood, a famous son-in-law?
I was trying to avoid saying all that stuff because people will jump on me saying, aha, you are pushing your book, Who Painted My Last Red? I did not want to say a word about this. Yeah. But looks like it is those people who are running Indian cricket team.
Definitely, I think Sanju Samson is there in the mix, and if he's not there in the final squad announced on Wednesday, I think was the last date, that would be a very sad thing. Sanju Samson has proved himself in the IPL. I think he needs luck, he needs prayers, and if you left the choice to me to pick the two, I would pick Ishan Kishan and Sanju Samson. I would not pick KL Rahul.
Thank you so much, Kannan, and a lot of plain speaking here, guys. We are not here to give you sugar-coated stuff about how great Indian team is. It is proving itself to be otherwise on the field. So watch there. Again, I've always told you this before. Don't get excited if they win. Don't get sad when they lose, because there are other factors at play. They are under tremendous pressure to do certain things which I don't agree with. And that's what Kannan alluded to also. The transparency has gone. So we'll see when that comes back. I don't know when. So certainly the Modi government has made no difference to the cricket, the way cricket is managed and played in India. Thank you so much. And we'll be back again with Kannan next Monday, same time, as we dissect what happened in the next few days, because we are going to see this Asia Cup unwind itself. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir.